At first glance, you might assume the Amish, like many religious groups, would welcome outsiders with open arms, especially those who are curious about their faith and way of life. But here's the truth that surprises most people. The Amish don't want converts. They don't recruit. They don't evangelize. They don't hand out pamphlets, knock on doors, or post inspiring videos online. In fact, if you express interest in joining them, you may be met with polite distance or a quiet, hesitant smile. Not because they're unkind or unfriendly, but because joining the Amish isn't just about belief. It's about total transformation, and they know most people aren't ready for it. To live as an Amish person means more than learning a few skills or dressing plainly. It means giving up nearly every part of modern life, from your phone and car to your social media, career path, and even native language. The Amish speak Pennsylvania Dutch in their homes, and while most are fluent in English, their everyday conversations, church services, and family traditions are deeply tied to a culture that outsiders rarely understand. Their community life is bound by the Ordnung, a strict, unwritten set of rules that governs everything from clothing to courtship, technology to transportation. It's not something you can sample. It's something you must surrender to completely. And the Amish know from centuries of experience that outsiders, even well-meaning ones, struggle to make that leap. They've seen people romanticize their lifestyle, imagining it as a peaceful escape from the chaos of the modern world. But once the reality sets in, the manual labor, the long hours, the lack of personal freedom, the lifelong submission to church authority, most don't last. So rather than encourage conversion, the Amish actually discourage it subtly. They don't make joining easy because in their eyes, it isn't supposed to be. To join the Amish, you're not just joining a church, you're becoming part of a closed society that values humility, obedience, and separation from the world above all else. That kind of commitment isn't for tourists. It isn't for dreamers. It's for those willing to give up everything, possibly forever. And that's why the Amish aren't waiting for you to join. In fact, they're hoping you won't ask, because they know what it costs, and they know how few are willing to pay it. It's not a lifestyle, it's a lifetime of obedience. Most outsiders see the Amish lifestyle as an aesthetic: the plain clothes, the horse-drawn buggies, the charming farms, the slow pace. Some even envy it. They imagine quitting their job, ditching their phone, and moving to an Amish community to live off the land and find peace. But this perception is dangerously shallow. The Amish don't live the way they do because it's nostalgic or peaceful. They live that way because they are bound to a lifelong covenant of obedience, and this is exactly why they're cautious about letting outsiders in. Because what looks like a lifestyle to others is actually a spiritual discipline that governs every hour of every day for life. Obedience in the Amish world isn't optional. It's not something you do when you feel like it or when it makes sense. It's total, and it's enforced not by threats or force, but by a deeply internalized commitment to the Ordnung, the community's unwritten code of behavior. This code doesn't just tell you what to wear or what not to buy. It tells you how to be, how to think, how to remain humble, and how to let go of personal ambition. It governs your marriage, your work, your parenting, your leisure, even your tone of voice and posture. There's no such thing as a free-spirited Amish. When someone joins the Amish, they must submit to the Ordnung fully and forever. This includes accepting the authority of church leaders, tolerating communal discipline, and giving up many personal choices. You don't get to decide your fashion, decorate your home however you like, or choose your job based on passion. You conform. You serve. And this isn't seen as oppressive. It's seen as holy. But to the modern mind, raised on freedom, options, and self-expression, it feels like suffocation. The Amish know this, That's why they don't actively invite outsiders into their fold. They know that most people crave the tranquility of Amish life, but not the cost. They want the peace, but not the price. And obedience, not peace, is the foundation of everything in Amish life. To join them means to walk away from your autonomy and never look back. That's not a lifestyle trend. That's a vow. And most who consider joining don't fully understand the weight of it until it's too late. The language barrier, why you'll always be an outsider. Even if you learn to dress Amish, follow the Ordnung, and live without electricity, there's one massive wall most outsiders can't climb: the language. In Amish homes, schools, and church services, the primary spoken language is Pennsylvania Dutch, a dialect of German passed down for generations. It's not just a linguistic quirk. It's the heartbeat of Amish culture, and if you don't speak it fluently, you'll always be on the outside looking in. Newcomers quickly realize that without this language, you miss everything that's unspoken: the subtle humor, the warnings, the advice, the warmth, and even the quiet corrections. While most Amish do speak English, they rarely use it when they're among their own. Church sermons are delivered in High German. Casual conversations happen in Pennsylvania Dutch. Babies are raised speaking it from birth. It's more than a way to communicate. It's a filter, a shield, and a bond that ties the Amish community tightly together. It creates a world within a world. Trying to join the Amish without mastering the language is like trying to join a family where everyone speaks in code. You'll never feel fully at home. And even if you study it diligently, becoming fluent takes years, and there are no schools or language apps for Pennsylvania Dutch. It's an oral language passed through immersion. The only real way to learn it is by living among the Amish for a long time. And even then, you'll speak it with an accent, and they'll always know you weren't born into it. That's why many converts who attempt to join the Amish eventually drift away or are never fully accepted. They sit in silence during church. They miss jokes at the table. They misunderstand instructions. They rely on others to translate. And over time, that distance becomes heavy. The Amish don't intend to exclude, but their culture is so deeply tied to their language that without it, you're not truly one of them. This is why the Amish don't encourage outsiders to join, not out of pride or secrecy, but because they know the path to full belonging is nearly impossible without being born into the language, the rhythm, and the silence between the words. To become Amish, you can change your clothes and your job, but changing your tongue, your ear, and your cultural instincts? That's far harder, and most people don't make it. The cost of individuality: you must disappear into the group. In the modern world, we're taught to value personal identity, freedom of expression, and the right to chart our own course. But in Amish life, those values are flipped upside down. To be truly Amish, you must surrender your individuality, not just outwardly, but inwardly. And this is one of the biggest reasons they don't want outsiders to join. Because most people who want to become Amish are still clinging to the idea that they can keep some piece of themselves, a favorite hobby, a special belief, a personal style, or a private opinion. But in the Amish world, you don't get to keep anything for yourself. The Amish believe that pride, self-promotion, and even personal preference are dangerous. They disrupt the unity of the community. That's why everyone dresses the same, drives the same buggies, and lives in houses that all look nearly identical. There's no room for standing out, no appetite for personal flair. Even something as small as decorating your porch with too many flowers or choosing a brightly colored quilt can raise eyebrows, because it suggests a desire to be seen, to be different, to elevate yourself. And in Amish theology, that's the beginning of rebellion. If you're an outsider used to expressing your thoughts freely, questioning authority, or marching to the beat of your own drum, you'll struggle in the Amish world. They value conformity, silence, and obedience. You don't get to argue with the bishop. You don't get to push back on tradition. You don't get to do things your way. Even your personality is expected to submit to the values of humility and sameness. It's not just your clothes that must change. It's your inner posture. That's why the Amish don't advertise or invite you in, because they know that modern people don't like to disappear. We want to belong, yes, but we also want to be seen, heard, and celebrated. And the Amish don't celebrate the individual, they celebrate the community. And for most people raised in the outside world, that price is just too high. The burden of total separation. You can't keep one foot in the world. One of the most difficult truths for outsiders hoping to join the Amish is this: you can't partially convert. There's no halfway, no hybrid lifestyle, no Amish on weekends and modern on weekdays compromise. The Amish demand total separation from the outside world, and that includes your technology, your habits, your relationships, and even your mindsets. If you join them, you leave it all behind. And if you try to hold on to just a little bit, a phone for emergencies, a favorite TV show, a credit card, or a small online presence, it won't work. You'll be corrected. And if you resist, you'll be pushed out. The Amish are not interested in blending with the modern world. In fact, their entire belief system is based on staying apart from it, physically, spiritually, and socially. That's why they don't vote in elections, don't serve in the military, don't receive Social Security, and don't engage in modern media. Their world is carefully walled off, not because they hate outsiders, but because they believe the outside world is filled with temptation, pride, and decay. Joining them means stepping behind that wall and closing the gate behind you. This is especially hard for converts who have family outside the church, because full membership in the Amish community often requires distancing yourself from loved ones who don't share your new faith. Birthday parties, holiday gatherings, family reunions, those may be off limits. Visiting a sibling with a television? That's discouraged. Talking about life before too often? Suspicious. And if you ever leave the church after joining, you may face shunning, which means members, including your spouse or children, may refuse to eat with you, do business with you, or speak to you directly. The Amish know how emotionally brutal this can be. That's why they're careful with outsiders. They don't want to welcome someone in, see them struggle with the total cutoff from the world, and then watch them walk away, breaking bonds and shaking the community's trust. They've seen it happen before. And so they'd rather you admire from a distance than dive in and drown. The modern world celebrates balance, dabbling, and open-mindedness. The Amish reject that. To them, partial separation is no separation at all. And unless you're ready to let go of everything, not just your phone, but your former self, they'd rather you not even try. The reality of hard labor. Romantic notions meet backbreaking truth. Many outsiders dream of joining the Amish because they long for a simpler, quieter life. They imagine sunsets over wide fields, fresh-baked bread cooling on the windowsill, and children laughing in handmade clothes. But what most people don't realize is that the so-called simple life is anything but easy. The Amish way of life is built on constant physical, backbreaking labor from dawn until after dusk. There are no shortcuts, no weekends off, and no automation to lighten the load. And this is one of the most practical reasons the Amish don't want outsiders rushing to join, because most simply can't handle it. Every day starts early, milking cows at 4:30 a.m., feeding livestock, gathering eggs, hauling water, chopping firewood, washing laundry by hand, tending enormous gardens, canning for hours, cooking for a dozen people without a microwave or blender, raising barns, building furniture, sewing clothes. It never ends. The Amish don't clock out. Their work is their life, and while it's done with joy and gratitude, it's also grueling. For people raised on convenience, this lifestyle is a shock to the body and mind. Most converts underestimate the toll it takes. They think they'll get used to it. But the physical demands, especially without electricity, are unrelenting. Want to warm your house in the winter? Haul wood, stoke the stove, and monitor the fire all night. Want to eat? Grow your own food, slaughter your own meat, preserve it all by hand. There's no Uber Eats, no quick errands in a car, no calling in sick. You carry your weight, or others must carry it for you. And the Amish community expects every able adult to contribute without complaint. This intense work ethic isn't just tradition, it's spiritual. The Amish believe that labor honors God, and idleness invites sin. That's why they don't idolize leisure, entertainment, or rest. Sunday is for worship, but Monday through Saturday is for working, with your hands, your back, your full strength. The idea of retiring in comfort or doing work you love is foreign. You do the work that needs doing, and you do it well. Most outsiders admire Amish life as a peaceful fantasy, but the Amish know it's a life of sweat, discipline, and endurance. That's why they don't advertise it or encourage it lightly, because unless you're ready to break your body daily, joyfully and without applause, you won't last. And that's not something they want to witness again.